You know that star-shaped fried dough? It's not Spanish. The history of churros is so mysterious it involves shepherds in the mountains, Arab monks, Portuguese sailors sailing to China, and the world's longest churro record has a Venezuelan twist. Come along as we dive into the crispiest, most controversial story in world cuisine. Before we start, did you know that churros are the king of fairs and amusement parks around the world? But their true origin is one of gastronomy's greatest puzzles, and in this video you'll discover all the theories, fun facts, and twists of this golden delight. The most popular and romantic theory points to Spanish shepherds living in the mountains, far from any bakery. With no access to ovens or fresh bread, they needed a practical alternative. They mixed flour, water, and salt into a simple dough that could be fried over an open fire in a skillet. To shape the dough, they used a sort of homemade syringe. The first star-shaped nozzle came into play. The result was an elongated, ridged piece of dough that, once fried, resembled the horns of the churra, sheep, a native Iberian breed. And that, legend has it, is how the name churros came about. Although this story is widely told, it became popular mainly in the 19th century, but some point to a small problem. Arabic documents suggest that a churros-like fried dough already existed on the Iberian Peninsula as early as the 12th century or even earlier. So the romantic shepherd tale may only be part of the puzzle. The plot twist happens when we look at the other side of the world. In China, there is a savory snack called Youtiao, a fried dough stick, slightly salty, whose name literally means fried demon. Chinese legend tells of a baker who was furious with the corruption of a powerful chancellor during the Song dynasty. He decided to protest creatively. He took 2 strips of raw dough to represent the chancellor and his wife, and threw them into boiling oil. The baker shouted, "Let's fry the demon." The rebellion was so successful that the fried demon has remained a breakfast staple to this day. When Portuguese explorers reached China in the 16th century, they fell in love with Youtiao and brought the idea back to the Iberian Peninsula. There, they replaced the salt with sugar. The recipe gained a sweet soul, and the dough began to be shaped with the star-shaped nozzle that gives churros their characteristic ridges. From this perspective, churros are basically a distant, sweeter cousin of the Chinese fried demon. The third clue takes us to the period of Muslim rule on the Iberian Peninsula between the 8th and 15th centuries. In cookbooks of the time, such as the 13th century Kitab al-Tabiq, we find descriptions of zalābiyya, a wheat flour dough forced through a perforated utensil directly into hot oil, producing golden fritters with tiny grooves. The process was practically identical to modern churros. These sweet fritters were traditionally eaten during religious celebrations in the Arab world, and with the Moorish presence in Iberia, it's no stretch to assume that churros absorbed this ancient technique. Thus, instead of a single inventor, churros seem to be the result of a cultural blend. The frying technique came from Al-Andalus. The inspiration for the shape arrived with Portuguese navigators, and the street food character was consolidated by Spanish shepherds and bakers. Churros are, literally, a global dessert before the term even existed. Colonial expansion took churros to Latin America. Mexico, in particular, embraced the treat so passionately that many people even in the United States believe churros are Mexican. But their true origin is Iberian. In Mexico, churros gained an inseparable partner: hot chocolate. Spanish conquistadors had taken cacao from the Americas to Europe, and when they returned, the churros and chocolate duo was cemented. Today, while in Mexico and the US the chocolate is more liquid for drinking, in Spain it is served thick like pudding, perfect for dipping every bite. Other regions went further. In Argentina, Peru, Chile, and Mexico, churros are often filled with dulce de leche or cajeta. In Cuba, the favorite filling is guava paste. In Uruguay, there is even a savory version with melted cheese. In Venezuela, pride runs high. A local franchise, Churromanía, broke the world record for the longest churro in 2025, an astonishing 153.21 meters of pure crispy dough. In Brazil, the story of churros began timidly in the 1960s, but it was in 1974 that the treat exploded in popularity. The first successful churreria was a Casa do Churros, located on Avenida São João in downtown São Paulo. Inspired by his customers, the owner started offering fillings, first classic dulce de leche, then chocolate, brigadeiro, and even guava paste. The idea of filling churros was a typically Brazilian innovation. In Spain, Portugal, and most of Latin America, churros are eaten plain, just with sugar and cinnamon, dipped in hot chocolate. It was here, on the streets of São Paulo, that churros became a creamy on the inside, crispy on the outside explosion, the very face of Brazil. St. Louis World's Fair. In 1904, churros were introduced to North Americans for the first time, at the same fair that gave us cotton candy, the popsicle, and the ice cream cone. The world's longest. In 2025, the Venezuelan franchise Churromanía broke the Guinness World Record with a continuous churro measuring 153 meters, over 500 feet, cooked live in Hialeah, Florida. World Churro Day. November 11th is World Churro Day, a perfect date to enjoy this delicacy. Different names. In Spain, depending on the region, churros are also called calentito, Seville, talo, Jane, or tejaringo, Granada. Thicker, softer versions are known as porous, and in Portugal a similar sweet is called fartura. No chocolate. Believe it or not, churros were not created to be eaten with chocolate. The earliest recipes, whether Spanish, Arab, or Chinese, had nothing to do with cacao. The duo only became established after chocolate arrived from the Americas. Hangover cure. In Spain, churros are traditionally eaten for breakfast and also as a home remedy for hangovers. A cup of hot chocolate with churros helps restore energy. The shape is pure science. The star-shaped nozzle isn't just pretty, it increases the surface area in contact with the oil, making the churro much crispier. Without this texture, it would be nothing more than a soft dough stick. So, the next time you bite into a churro, whether plain, filled, or dipped in chocolate, remember, you're not just eating fried dough. You're tasting centuries of history that began with shepherds in the Spanish mountains, crossed the world with Portuguese navigators, inherited Arab recipes from Al-Andalus, gained new life on the streets of Mexico, broke records in Venezuela, and found its most creative and delicious version in Brazil. Churros don't belong to a single country, they belong to everyone who has ever fallen in love with a crispy, sugary treat. Now I want to know from you, are you on team plain churros, dipped in chocolate, or filled with dulce de leche? Have you ever tried a savory version? And most importantly, did you know that China and Spanish shepherds are fighting over the invention of this sweet? Tell us in the comments. If you enjoyed this crispy, twist-filled story, hit that like button to help the channel grow. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now and ring the bell because every week a new story is coming out of the kitchen. See you on the next plate.